This documentary is based on the research of historian A. Roger Ekirch. He spent years reading 2,000 old letters, diaries, and court records. And he found a secret hidden inside almost all of them. It's 3 in the morning. Your eyes snap open. The house is silent. The world is dark. And you are awake. You stare at the ceiling, certain something is wrong with you, but nothing is wrong. Your body is doing exactly what it was built to do. For 300,000 years, humans woke in the middle of the night on purpose. We're taught that good sleep means 8 unbroken hours. Close your eyes at night, open them at dawn. 1 clean block. But that idea is barely 150 years old. For almost all of human history, sleep came in 2 pieces. They called it first sleep and second sleep. And between them lay one of the strangest hours in human life. An hour our ancestors all knew, and we completely forgot. To understand it, we have to go back to a world with no light switch. A world where the sun didn't just set, it erased everything. Picture a small house long ago as the last daylight drains away. There is no lamp to flick on, no glow from a screen. When the sun goes down, true darkness floods in. A single candle costs precious money, so it's used sparingly. By a few hours after sunset, there is nothing left to do. You can't read, you can't work, you can barely see your own hands. So the family does the only sensible thing. They go to bed. Not at 11, not at midnight. Sometimes as early as 8. They sink into bedding and let the long night take them. This is first sleep. Deep and heavy, the body finally surrendering. Outside, the village goes quiet. No engines, no hum of electricity. Only wind, animals, and the occasional cry of something in the dark. And then, around midnight, something happens. Eyes open across the village, not from fear, not from a nightmare. The body simply rises to the surface of sleep, all on its own. This is the gap, the watch, the hour between 2 sleeps. And here's the strange part. Nobody panicked about it. They expected it. They had names for it. They had plans for it. Some people simply lay in the warm dark, thinking. It was a quiet, private hour with no demands and no clocks. Some rose and added a log to the dying embers. The fire flares, and shadows stretch across the walls. Couples talked softly about things too heavy for daylight. Mothers checked on sleeping children, then drifted back to bed. Some prayed, believing the midnight hour brought them closer to God. Manuals were even written with special prayers for this exact waking. Others slipped next door to whisper with a neighbour. And many couples used this hour to make love. Doctors of the time even recommended it after the rest of first sleep. It was, for centuries, simply part of being human at night. Then people would feel sleep returning and slide into second sleep. For a long time, no one realized this had ever existed. The memory of two sleeps had quietly disappeared from the world. Until a historian named Roger Ekirch started noticing a pattern. He kept finding the same odd phrases in very old writing. First sleep, second sleep, the watch. Over and over. In diaries, in court records, in poems and prayers and novels. He didn't find it once or twice. He found it more than 2,000 times. Across centuries, across countries, in many different languages. These weren't strange exceptions. This was the normal human night. People wrote about waking at midnight the way we mention brushing our teeth. So casually that for years, historians had read right past it. The clue was hiding in plain sight, in thousands of pages. It described a rhythm of sleep almost no living person remembered. So the next question is obvious. What made it disappear? The answer is something you are looking at right now. Light. It started slowly in the growing cities a few centuries ago. Street lamps appeared. Then brighter oil lamps inside homes. Suddenly, the evening didn't have to end when the sun did. People could stay up later, talk later, work later. Bedtime crept from 8 to 9 to 10 to 11. Then came gaslight and finally the electric bulb. Night was conquered. Darkness was switched off on demand. And our sleep got squeezed into one short, packed block. There was no longer room for a quiet hour in the middle. Within a couple of generations, the old rhythm was forgotten. The very words, first sleep, faded out of everyday language. We didn't decide to sleep differently. We were rewired by light. But here is the thing about 300,000 years of habit. It doesn't vanish just because we invented a switch. Deep in the body, the old pattern is still waiting. To test how humans sleep without electricity, scientists went looking. A research team led by Jerome Siegel studied modern hunter-gatherer groups, people living much closer to the ancient rhythm of sun and dark. What they found surprised a lot of people. These groups didn't sleep more than us. They slept a little less. On average, only about 6 hours and 25 minutes a night. They didn't fall asleep the moment the sun went down. Instead, they drifted off a few hours after sunset, in the cool dark. They woke naturally near sunrise, without an alarm in sight. Their sleep was shaped less by light and more by temperature. The body settles as the night cools and stirs as it warms again. It paints a picture of sleep as something flexible, not fixed. Not one rigid block, but a rhythm that bends to the world around it. A rhythm your ancestors lived by for thousands of generations. Which brings us back to you, awake at 3 in the morning. That moment you fear might be a disorder? It may simply be first sleep ending, exactly as it always has. Your body trying to begin the old midnight watch, reaching for an hour that modern life erased from the schedule. Studies have even recreated it. Take away artificial light for weeks, and people naturally begin splitting their sleep into two pieces again. The pattern was never broken. It was only buried under bright bulbs. Your 3 a.m. waking isn't a glitch in your body. It might be the oldest sleep schedule on Earth, trying to come back. There's something strangely comforting in that idea. The next time you wake in the deep, silent middle of the night, you don't have to fight it or fear it. You can lie still in the dark, the way humans did for ages, and simply let your mind wander until sleep returns on its own. Your ancestors knew this hour well. Part of you still does. But where these people slept, and who they slept beside, is its own shock. Because for most of history, you never had a bed to yourself. That's next.